Nobody told you this before, but you outshine the sun. The type that I've been looking for. I've seen you inside my dreams. So baby, come a little closer. Know that you are the only one. I wanna see your body move. Don't be afraid. And baby, keep the lights on. And baby, keep the lights on. So can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. This world can be an ugly place. Sometimes it brings out the worst in us. But when I see your pretty face, it all fades away. Let me climb up your mountain. Let me search through your valleys. I got my eyes wide open. Baby, don't hide. Baby, keep the lights on. Baby, keep the lights on. Can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. Baby, keep the lights on. Baby, keep the lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. I wanna see your body move. Yeah. I wanna see your body move. I wanna see your body move. Oh, I gotta see your body move. So can we keep the lights on? And baby, keep the lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. Baby, keep the lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you.
Good evening and welcome back to the Bear Cave. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Night Talk. Analyze this mess. That was Keep the Lights On. Yeah, keep the lights on. Because somebody had to say it. Somebody just had to say it, right? Happy Mother's Day. Just coming on tonight live. It's 11:05. It is May 11th. 11:05 p.m. Okay. I do like to timestamp when I come on. I do. If you missed it last night, well, it was just kind of just kind of laid back, I guess you could say, for a while. In the middle. In the middle, it started off with a little analyze this. We looked at the docket and what's ahead. And then after that, I just, I just talk. Yeah, that's what I do. And then at the end, it ended. Yeah, that would be one to analyze, but I don't know if I will analyze it tonight. But I can tell you, I didn't count up all of the comments, but there were a lot of them. Yeah, there were. And then after I ended the broadcast, well, as I was ending it, typically I play like one song. I played like several. I did. I know. I bet people were wondering, like, how's Teddy feeling? I felt fine. As a matter of fact, when I listened to it again, I just said that was kind of smooth. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah. When I say smooth, it was just, yeah, I don't really, I didn't end it with having thought it was not the right thing to do. No. There was one question, though, maybe two questions that I should have asked or could have asked. Yeah. But before I get into that, how's everyone doing? Did you have a good day? It was gorgeous here. It was just sunny and it was a good day. It was. hmm I got some things done, but I got a lot more I have to get done. Um, if you haven't had a chance to look at any of the documents in this case, you might want to look at, some recent things that have been added. Mhm. Again, I'm not going to talk about it tonight because I um, come on late. Maybe I'll get into it after I see how and when I'm going to respond. hmm How and when I am going to respond. Mhm. I am. It's not going to be 109 pages. I can tell you that. Let me look at the chat. I see my moderators. Good evening to baby Juju and Vicky Black. You had a great day. I see that. Yeah. To all the moms. Yeah. I saw, you know, children and young mothers and other mothers, with families. And it was really nice, to see all of that. It was. Yeah, it was. And I made some phone calls to one in particular. I won't, you won't know the gist of the conversation, but this is someone who I hadn't spoke to in a very long time over the phone. And it was as if we just picked it up from where we left off. Because that's how it is when you've known someone for a long time. You know, you don't always have to talk to someone every day. And even if it's someone that you're not, this isn't like an immediate family member or even like a blood relative, but you can have members of you can call them family, and they just feel that way, you know. And it was a great conversation. It really was. It really was. hmm Yeah. Yeah. Very. It was very encouraging. hmm Anyway, at the bottom, let's go right into this. Cup says, "LOL, 109 pages is a lot. Jane Doe had a lot to say. Anonymously, it was a lot." And yeah, I did finally you know, I did get through reading it all. I did. hmm Yeah, I read, I read all of it. Um, a lot of the um, exhibits were, well, I won't get into it just yet. I wanted to come on and say something like, I don't know. It just feels like when the facts point, one way, but the filings say another, that's not just a defense. It just kind of smells like I don't. I know people are listening to every word. I said that last night. They're hanging on. I know. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that they're whoever these folks are, they are concerned. Hmm? Yeah. That's why all of the response. Yeah, yeah. Smells like a derailment in action. Yeah. Yeah, like it definitely reeks of that. Mhm. It does. Hey, Mimi Twin, happy Mother's Day. Uh, let's see the question. Are the pages like something that was written for the board? Because when someone files like they did over 10 times to the board, those things are um, confidential until and unless I would have been called before. You know what? I'm telling you, on some level, I wanted to go the distance because I knew if it had, they wouldn't show up. Mm-mm. I want to face my accuser. I really do. I want to face, you know, whoever this person or person are. But they are going to do everything, and they're trying right now. I haven't responded just yet to pull out. It's not. It's not even close to what I think might be going on. Hmm. Yeah, it's like kind of the start of something. Hmm. And I, I think some folks are concerned. You know, and this is why they're moving. This is why they are coming. They're not coming forward. Um, you know, identified, but they're moving. Yeah, yeah. You should just take a look at that 109 pages. Yeah. I can at least tell you, I said it was a motion to dismiss. Let me see what I can at least tell you what it is. Let's see. So, um, wait a minute, not that one. All right, so it's they're calling it a special appearance. Jane Doe is calling this one filing a special appearance, motion to set aside default, motion to dismiss, motion to quash subpoena, and motion for protective order filed. It's anonymously, you know. This motion filed by a purported, this non-party Jane Doe. That's a lot. Again, a motion to set aside the default. Okay. A motion to dismiss, a motion to quash subpoena, and a motion for protective order. A motion for protective order. Mm-hmm. I mean, almost something like on the surface, like almost like what I experienced last year. They're talking about, they're saying things like, I'm not going to be it's there in the one. I'm not going to talk about it tonight. I gave you at least the the different parts of the motion, and then there was something else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Isn't that a lot? Yes, Junebug says that is a lot of activities for a non-party. Mm-hmm. I'm I won't, I really won't talk about it until I've filed like my response, because I'm not going to give them any clue of, how I'm going to respond to it, because I haven't, it's just over the weekend. And yeah, I'm not going to give them any idea of what I might, how I might come, because I'm just getting a chance to go over it, just myself, put my eyes on all of it, and then I will begin to, formulate a response. Mhm. No, this one, nope, nope. They won't know the next move. But I can tell you, they will be checking Pacer every single day, twice a day, 3 times a day, 5 times a day. They will be looking for my response. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. They are glued to this one. Yeah, I've got their attention. Yes, I do. Mhm. Yes, I know. They're listening right now. Yeah, because they're definitely listening. So move in silence. Yeah, this one I think I think I'm going to do that for a minute. Hmm. I do have the right, you know. Let's not forget we got John. So we've got a Jane Doe who just entered, you know, and we have a John Doe. So John Doe wants to quash the subpoena, also put a protective order, also wants to seal his identity. I'm going to say his because it's a John. And it's, I'll just say that. Hmm. Yeah. Yes, Bless says, remember, it's chess, not checkers or cheek. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Move in silence. Yeah. Don't let them know your next move. You can email me, by the way, and I appreciate all of you who have done that at unwinewithteddy at gmail.com. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yes, keep it, Mom. I'm just looking at up at the chat to see. I was gonna put it up, but I haven't put it up yet. You have a question? For understanding, Jane and John came after you subpoenaed Block. That is correct. And after the courts gave the okay to move forward. Let's see when that. John responded to quash the subpoena on 4/25. Though it didn't hit the, let's see, 2 weeks ago, yesterday. Well, Friday, 2 days ago. So I'm just looking. So 2 weeks and, a couple of days. Yeah. And then it, you know how sometimes when you look in the end of a calendar, it has like April and May shaded. So I responded on the 9th. Oh, wait a minute. Because I was in between some things. Let me just look. Because I was responding to other things. That's why I'm pausing. Wonder I can't see it. Yeah, so 425 is when John filed the motion to quash, John Doe. And there was an order, that's right, for me to file the affidavit. That was on the 2nd. And I had until the 13th, which is, that's coming up. But I've already filed a response. Yes. So then that came on the 2nd. So then that would be John Doe filed that prior to the judge ordered to certify the exhibits. But Jane Doe, her filing did not come. Let me just go back until I believe it was the 7th. The first time she filed. Yes. So yes, Jane Doe came. Yes, right after that order from the judge for me to, you know, let me just see. There was something else here between, to certify that. Came right after, a few days after when I filed the motion to compel. And so it was this week. It was, the 6th when the motion to quash was actually put on the record so I could see it, but I had responded to it on the Friday before. So that was on the 2nd. And then, motion to dismiss came in on the 8th, although it was filed on the 7th. Okay. Along with an exhibit that came with it. And then there was another motion to seal. John had filed or, had 2 documents, 2 separate things. But then he came back with another motion to seal. What is this? Let me just look at something. And then, of course, I have my motion, to strike the motion to quash. And then, then Jane Doe shows up. So it's, yeah. So after the courts gave the okay, yes. So after the courts gave the okay to move forward pending my, affidavit, sworn statement, then enters Jane Doe. Just before, like, kind of like, I will just say the deadline for me to get it in to the judge, which will be this Tuesday. So there was a lot going on this week. Yeah. Yeah. So to really disrupt, I feel like a lot, to slow it down. To get in. In other words, if someone's sitting on the sideline, they're waiting. They're waiting to see what happens. And now they're jumping in. Yeah. Because they want the motion for default to be, basically thrown out. So that is what happened, at least for Jane Doe. Yeah, Jane Doe came forward after the judge said, "Go ahead. This is a go pending you." Yes. Yes. Mhm. A motion to set aside default. Yes. A motion to dismiss. A motion to quash subpoena. A motion for a protective order. All of this filed by an anonymous Jane Doe. Mhm. Interesting. Yes, it is. So we got Jane. Teddy kept saying, "It is as I was typing." Yeah, it is a lot. It is. Because now it's like it's two separate. It's two separate, um, you know, I'll just say folks out there. I've got a John Doe that I've got to, respond, and Jane Doe respond, you know, how that's all going to come together. But there seems to be I'm just go take a look at it. hmm It's I know you're listening. Let's see. Jane Locke says, strike the motion. The Does are filing electronically. Yes, it's all coming in electronically. I have not filed electronically. Interestingly enough, as I read through it, Jane Doe is saying that I was served. I wasn't served, if I'm reading this correctly, by mail. I haven't received anything. Mm-mm. No one has served anything on me. Mm-mm. Maybe that's going to come, soon. I don't know. That I didn't know. I didn't know about John Doe until the 6th, and I didn't know about Jane Doe until after, I guess it was the 8th or around the 9th. I mean, it's just the 11th, just a couple of days ago. All right. This weekend. Oh my goodness. And what was Jane's reason? Well, she's got all kinds of things. Mhm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Something is going to be really surprising that was said in that 109 pages. Hmm. She's anonymous, so I don't know who Jane Doe is. Yeah. Go take a look at it. Hmm. I'm not going to talk about it until I respond. Because once I respond, you'll know what I'm thinking or what I. It's not something that you know you just you just do in like one you know sweep. No. Um, when I say that, it's like no, I gotta think of a couple of things. Just how I'm gonna respond. Think about some things. I tell you though, when I was going over that chat from last night, and I looked at one of the initial statements or questions, or if I can remember what he said, something about trying to figure out, put together, the, connect the dots or something like that. Like, they didn't even know who Jane and John Doe, didn't even know about that, but they want to come over and start connecting some dots. Okay, people can do what they want to do. Hmm. I, as a matter of fact, I did make a copy of thing. See if I can get that first question. Oh, it's 11:41. Um, Let me throw this banner up. See if I. All right. So he says, I'm so damn lost. I don't know what's going on. Um, there was a lot of comments. At one point, if you at the screenshot that I have, it was almost like all, just a few sprinkles of people, but the questions were like coming in or filling up um, pretty fast. So he said to Spirit, I'm trying to connect the dots and it ain't working. Okay, that's what I said. I stopped talking in riddles in 2024. Although, um, first thing is after, the greeting and whatever, it's like, what? I want to ask a question, but I better, basically, what is it? I'm going to stay quiet. Yeah, I have a few questions, but I'm going to be quiet. That's what he said. Mhm. That was early on. So, without me even seeing that, I knew that it's information that, let me just, I was just looking at some of this chat history. And you can see the chat is up on the video. Okay. I haven't gone through all of it, but I did, see that. Hmm. Yeah. People are curious. Who was talking in riddles? I wasn't talking in riddles. Um, but initially they don't know what's going on. They've got a lot of questions they want to ask. Um, since this case has started, um, December, since it was filed, I can't remember before then when they've been in the chat, at least in the chat. I don't know if it could have been in the, bushes, people come, but in the chat, they have not been since until yesterday. So that would be what? Yeah, 4.5 going into 5 months. Hmm. Yeah. So, um, you know, people have questions. People are curious. That question was annoying. That question was annoying because I think it was on some level self-serving. Hmm. Because the goal of it was, I think, one, to try to get me to commit to something on air because people are listening. Okay. So the question that I should have asked, I asked, the first question I asked, do you know this person? I should have followed up with saying, are you afraid of her? And why do you ask? Those would be 2 questions. That's it. I can't get into someone else's mind. But in all of that, even the question that I asked, I haven't gone through the whole chat. I don't know if there have ever been at all where there's been a time without asking. Acknowledge. I don't know. I know what I want to say, but I'm just thinking about how I might want to say it. Okay. It was a distraction at the end. Yeah, it was. But that question about, I'm not even going to really answer it now. I'm just going to give I'll just say that question was annoying. Because how in the world could even think go ask her. Go ask her first. See, that was a setup, I think. I'm just going to be honest. Because if you've ever, he was part of a setup. He was part of a setup, even though he says he didn't know. He denied that he didn't know. He said he did it. He said Crazy Lucian asked him to put it up. So, you mean he didn't push back? He just does what she told him to do or asked him to do? And he didn't know? Afterwards, he knew the effect. He knew I was blamed. Crazy Lucian set him up. This is what is being said to set me up. To make it look like he didn't have, he just put it up. Yeah, come on. Stop playing in my face. And even if he didn't know then, he knew later because he was on the party line. Crazy Lucian and Goody and that whole group over there, they were in on something. That's why I said to him, I think he knows more. No, I really do. I really do. That's how I ain't play like you don't. Yes, you do. You know something. That's how I just do. I feel like that. Because he's never confronted and said and come out and said on his panel, on his platform, this is what happened. Unwind with Teddy didn't have anything to do with that. That's why I would say, are you afraid of her? You would show me, you would convince me, instead of asking, that question, what I would ever come on. No, before you would even think about that question, you need to go up on your panel and say something. He said he doesn't get in anyone else's, problems or whatever. He just minds his own business. He doesn't, if it doesn't involve him, he doesn't get involved. Well, he was involved. He was. Because he posted that boarding pass. And she, the doxer, saw it and doxed Crazy Lucian. Crazy Lucian could have been a part of it too. And then blame me for it and then go after me. So we got 3 people that have already had, Crazy Lucian a connection with Red Label, a connection with DForDuh. Why would I trust any of that? And then behind the scenes, he said someone added him to an Instagram chat. So he was sitting up there listening. He knew. Yeah, you might be listening. It just kind of reminds me of like when maybe you were in, let's just say junior high school, maybe 6th, 7th, 8th grade, not really high school, but maybe. And we're kids, see there's a little fight going on. Maybe they hear about it in school, that there's going to be a fight after school, right? And it spreads quickly throughout, the playground or whatever. And everybody hears about the fight, and the bell hasn't even rang, but everybody in the school knows it's going to be a fight after school. Okay. He reminds me of the boy that was in the background. Okay, you got people fighting, who would stand outside and throw stuff in, He reminds me of an instigator. You see how he's that one? And he laughs. And it that's his entertainment. That's how it feels to me. It's fun. That's how it feels. That's what it reminds me. It's just something about him. You see, I come to the mic and just say it. And then I said afterwards, you can come back. Because I want to let people know how I feel. I mean, at some point, after all of this, I've tried to, But now I just feel like I have to just be, like, come on. I mean, really? Him and Goody are like bosom buddies, I think. No. The things that she has said and done and sat with Crazy Lucian and said is horrific. You have not heard a tape that I've heard. Okay? So these people don't mean me well. I don't believe they do. Not really. You can't. Not if you listen to what was said on some of these panels. No. Mm-mm. No. He could have cleared it up. But he said he had his own things he was dealing with. It would have taken 1 second to say. But the thing is, he was the one that put the boarding pass up. I was blamed for doing that. Doxing. I was blamed. Crazy Lucian said, I was the only person who had seen her boarding pass. So she was part of it planned. Because she sent a picture of it to me on Instagram. And then said I was the only one that saw it. That's not true. You heard him say, when asked directly, she asked him to put it up. So she was lying to me because she knew she had asked him to do that. So that's a part of a setup. I got blamed. That was in 2022 before my channels went down. The Tammy era. People doing things behind the scenes, and that's why I asked him about Tammy, the machine. Somebody over there knows. Somebody was a part of it. I don't know who. That part I don't know. But somebody knows who made that video. And they're going to stay quiet, and I took the biggest blame for that. That was the beginning, that lie. It was calculated. It was a setup to go after me. I did not know. I responded like, I'm not Tammy. I'm not Tammy. What are they talking about? But it was a deliberate setup. All different people involved, different parts moving. I don't know. But different people were doing things, and different people knew things. So even if a person says, well, I didn't, I had my own thing going on, and I was just an observer, and I just, it's not my fight. It's not my, I think they said it's not my circus, my monkey in the circus, whatever. Even if it wasn't then, has he done anything? He knows that I've asked him about this a couple of times. Instead, he wants to ask me, no, come on, please. Go ask her first. Don't come over here trying to set me up. Anything you want to know about her and me together, ask her first. Are you afraid of her, Red Label? No. Are you afraid of Daniel Robertson, Red Label? Let's get it on the mic so all can hear, because they're listening. When you can answer that question so people can hear it, then I'll believe it. When you can ask her a question about why she has done certain things, then I'll believe you're not afraid of her. But for now, I think you are. Or he'll just say, well, I don't want that monkey on my back. I'm gonna just be mum. Okay, that's your choice. I'm not trying to force you out, but don't try to force me out either. Because you play both sides. That's why I said it. I'm not talking behind his back. That's how I feel. Like you were playing me. Like it's a game. Just like Goody said. It's a game and she knows how it's played. Mm-hmm. So, you consort with people like that. They don't mean me any good. No. And I don't want to have a beef with anyone else. I don't. I'm dealing with this one. So stay on the sidelines and observe and all that. But ask other folks questions. No, a person can ask me questions, but they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And I felt like he was trolling me on some level. I did. That's why I mentioned he said he was a troll. So he knows how to do it. I didn't feel it was authentic. I didn't. Now, if you just look at the words, he wasn't, saying anything obnoxious or anything. But I think it was manipulative on some level because he was trying to get me to respond to a certain question, a commitment. He floated a trial balloon. And I knew when he asked that question, I could just tell the way he asked it. That, nah. No. I knew that question. I'm like, you not that. Is that question for me? Really? Uh-huh. I'm in litigation. I am in a lawsuit, and you want me to make a commitment to you about the defendant in this case on something like that. And he said, I don't know what's going on, but he knew that. He knew enough about that. If you look at the questions the way we're at, don't play me like you don't know what's going on. When I've seen comments or know that people over there talk, he knew exactly what was going on. Maybe he needed to get more information. I don't know. But he wanted to connect some, figure it out. I didn't think it was. Nah. That's how I feel. I felt it was patronizing. I said, I said playing in my face. I did to his face. So it was, if he could hear it, and I have said this. I said, just in general, I said, I like Red Label. I've said that. He seemed like a likable person. People would want to be around someone like that because people like that try to make sure that they stay just below the radar. But, just enough so they can say, well, I didn't have it. I wasn't, I really didn't, I was really not there, but I was there, but I wasn't there, but I was just, it's not my monkey. That's what he said. It's not my monkey. I said, but you bought a ticket and you walked up under the tent. It's not my monkey. Okay. So the monkey wasn't on his back, but the monkey was on my back. Since he wants to use that. It's not my monkey. Yeah, he did. He said, it's not my monkey. Yeah. But you saw the monkey. Don't y'all get it wrong. Don't get that wrong just because I said you saw the monkey. People get a little too caught up in just because somebody says a monkey. Don't go running with it. I'm quoting him. And then I used it in a, now. He said, it's not my monkey. And then I said, well, but he saw the monkey. He did. And now, come on. I just thought it's very interesting. So now you got a little bit more about how I felt about it. No, that's how I did. So I haven't really answered his question. I just said, go ask her. And then I said, are you afraid of her? And why do you ask? Because I think you're afraid of her. Yeah, I want to make that clear. I think Red Label, you're afraid of her. You're afraid of her the consequences of disagreeing with her. That's what I mean by being afraid of DForDuh. You want to appear like, that's why she's never, y'all better leave me alone. Yes, it's on tape, and I'll listen to it in the morning. Because, I'm not in a beef with no. But what happened that summer was very harmful. What happened with Crazy Lucian was very harmful. Mm-hmm. Very. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just stunned by what would come. Yeah, playing in my face. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. If I was part of it, it's not even like he could say, well, I heard about this. No, he actually was part of it. And, that even if it's a small part, a person could say, well, I drove the getaway car, or, I just sat out in the getaway car, But you're all part of it. Yeah. Why I still say why would you didn't ask her why she wanted you to post the boarding pass? I bet you knew why. Or she was just playing you. Okay. Maybe you didn't know. I don't know. A cup says, was it a real plane ticket? It looked like a real plane ticket. Yeah. And on the boarding pass, it would have her, I guess you could figure out at least her name. But what's so interesting is the chief doxer was able to, just dox her name, put it out there, her where she lived. I think that was part of it. How she can do it over like that. I still say she has access to databases and tools to do such things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 24 likes, 41 watching. Cub says, right, or why not come to you, being that she was, your mod, and he was an associate of yours. Why not speak to you about it? I don't know. It was an absolute setup. After a year and a half or 2 years, I find out about this. It's like, why I'm getting blamed for this. I couldn't understand. At one point, I thought that Crazy Lucian actually thought, and I kept explaining to her over and over, I wouldn't do that. I didn't dox you. She said, you did. You're the only one that saw that boarding pass. That was the biggest lie. Because she asked him to post it. Wow. All in cahoots. That's what I mean. I didn't know she was Even with Goody and Red Label and those folks over there, I did not know. He said he posted it because she asked. That's right. I asked him. He posted the boarding pass because she asked and didn't say anything. Make it feel like a setup. Yes, because if you see the thing about that part of it, if he doesn't ask, then a person can kind of like say, well, I didn't know. I just posted it. That's what he said. I didn't know what she was going to do with it, or I didn't ask. I just put it up. But then later, it would come out immediately that she's doxxed. The name is on the boarding pass. It was a setup. They set me up. When I say they, Crazy Lucian, Chief, then she gives him the boarding pass or asks him to do it. He can say, my hands are clean because all I did was post the boarding. I just did what she did. So don't be mad at me. I'm just curious why after the fact, when he learned what happened, why he didn't raise his hand, because he knew he was the one that posted it. It's not like a third party. He participated. Even if it was, I didn't know, they just, she just gave it to me and I just did it. But the consequences of him doing that was far reaching because I was blamed for it. And it seems like, I don't know, maybe he doesn't, it's it's like he said, it's not his monkey. It's not his monkey, but what did he do? He gave the monkey a grinder. What are those little boxes? So it wasn't his monkey, but he gave him, one of those little things that they wind up. I don't know. That's why I said you can play it on 10. It's a fact. He said it wasn't my monkey. I have it recorded. Okay. It's an analogy. Don't get it twisted. Bless says, so why was she shocked that she was doxxed? She doxed herself, but she wanted to say that I doxed her. That is the part that I don't understand. Kind of like she doxed herself, blame me, but set it up too. I don't get it. And then later would align herself with the very person who doxed her. That's why I'm like looking at that and something's not right. So you're going to go, I'm not talking. So you go to Goody and you go to DForDuh too. The person that doxed you? No. Just like somebody else over there from Louisiana. Lined up with the very person that doxed. Okay. Please don't play in my face. Mm-mm. That soft doxing. Down by the bayou. That's right. It was somebody down by the bayou. Uh-huh. It's a bunch of folks down by the bayou. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. It's 12:24. See, y'all pulled it out of me. Y'all wanted me to talk about it. Yeah. It's okay. It is. So we can just, just thin it out, no talking and like you said, no riddles. Just, get it out. So people know. Yeah. Because real harm has been done. I got the whole almost entire sector convinced. I've got a lot of people. There's at least one or two that I think would fall on their sword for her. I don't know about that, guys. Yes, he did say that. He catches everything like a professional baseball player, but didn't know what was going on. Ain't no dummy there. I know what time it is. That's why I say certain people move around, kind of laugh, and they getting information. They know exactly what he's doing. But fly under the radar. Play that role. Play that dumb role. Like I'm just a clown, y'all. Stop it. You talking to me? I may I may not get everything, but certain things I do get. Especially when they keep showing up and I find out, the facts. It is clear. Yeah. I'm talking some really vulgar stuff here. Okay, that was said about me. Crazy Illusionist said some. I didn't know she had such language in her with Goody. It was horrific. Some of the things that were said about me. It was reckless. It was reckless. And there's a few others over there that are reckless with their words and threats. People don't have to worry about me wanting to do. I don't want to cross these people in real life. No, not some of them. I don't. They can stay way, way away from Teddy. Mm-mm. So it's the gaslighting. the distractions and all of that. Yeah. I can't get into the person's mind, but I can look back at the history and say, I'm going to pass certain things. Yeah. Because real people, real, unafraid, can stand up and say to the bully, that's not right. They want to say it over here. They want to say things about me. Stand up to Danielle. Then when you do that, then you can come talk to me. Let's see you do that. Because I think a whole lot of people are afraid of her. And just imagine how it will be when people find out. That's it. It's 12:30. Don't know. Got a lot of work to do. I hope you guys have a good night. Got to get my rest. Yeah. Cop says real people don't play both sides. When you know someone is being unfairly oppressed and targeted, you just don't. People are going to say things about, oh, you were part of this, you did. I stood up. I remember the first time I stood up for Tails. I had to do with her grandmother. And I told Black Rabbit, I said, I don't get down like that. That's wrong. And I think after that, we didn't really talk very much. I didn't know she was part of the inside the walls so deep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't say. I don't want any harm to come to anyone. That's not how I am. Yeah. Period. But people want to do things to me to ruin my life. And I gotta fight. I gotta, gotta see it through. Email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. Whatever's going to happen next week, let's just see how it goes in the next week or two. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all for me. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Please hit the like on your way out and join me sometime tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Good night.